What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the VooPoo drag box. All right, guys, get it out of your system now. I'm going to give you a few seconds to laugh about the name, and then we'll get started with this video. Yes, I know this thing has a very silly name. However, I kind of fell in love with it over the past couple of weeks, and really, by looking at this thing, you wouldn't think it's anything special. Honestly, I've seen mods come out 2 years ago that looked almost identical to this. However, there's just something about its performance and its build quality and everything else that just really does it for me. So I ended up bringing this to Midwest Vapor Expo, and it survived the trip completely unharmed. So I guess that's a true testament to its quality. So before we get started with this video, I do have to state my intent by saying that I did receive this product for free from the manufacturer for the purpose of doing this video review. However, it has no monetary value to me, which means my opinions on it will remain honest and unbiased, of course, as always. With that being said, I would like to give a huge shout out and thank you to the people over at VooPoo for sending this thing along. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, hope to look at more VooPoo products. All right, guys, so let's start it off with the basics. This thing comes in two different flavors. You have the black carbon version and the red carbon version. Both of them have a stainless steel chassis. Kind of wish they would have had a black one available. Hopefully they release another one in the future sometime. I think that would look really darn cool for this device here, but in any case, the price on it is $55.99, which is definitely a great deal for a very hard-hitting, very rock-solid, nice-looking box mod there, so definitely a good deal. Of course, I will provide you guys with links down there in the description if you want to grab one of these for yourself. So anyways, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Show. All right, guys, so as you can see here, we have the drag in its original box. So let's take a look around the packaging, then we'll talk about what's inside. So first and foremost, it's got this really nice texture to the box. I could definitely tell they went all out with this packaging here. They also did the little kind of shiny emboss, the silver emboss here, with the VooPoo logo being gold emboss up top there. Bottom and side, nothing there. On the top here, you have the VooPoo logo once again. On the side here, you have the color indication. I got the carbon fiber one and the UPC as well. On the back, your normal stuff, the package contents, the warnings, and the little scratch-off identification thing there, so you can make sure it's real. Really glad that all of these companies are doing this nowadays, because there's just too many clones floating around there, and you know, everyone's trying to rip off everyone else. So make sure you check it out on their website and scan your little code, or do what you got to do there. So without further ado, let's take off the top here and take a look at the box. We'll just kind of briefly take a look around here, showing you that. Carbon fiber, as you can see there. Underneath, really not much to talk about, to be honest with you. Oh, look, a USB cable. Really nothing new, nothing fancy. I am collecting these now. It's official. I am collecting little blue screwdrivers as well as micro USB cables. So there we go. We have our warranty card. Oop, oh, there's a little something else in there too. Warranty card, simple stuff. And let's see, powerful chip, born for fever. I'm going to show you this. Born for fever. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Gene chip, born for fever. And you have the little instruction manual as well. Basic stuff. I like that they put a little bit more graphics in here. You're definitely going to need it with this one, because the menu system can get a bit convoluted, which we'll show you in a second here. But otherwise, let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. All right, guys, so here is the drag box itself. Let's just run through some of these main features about this device. It works between 5 to 157 watts using the Gene chip. It fires from 0.05 to 3 ohms. It goes from 0 to 7.5 volts at a 40 amp max current output. It has 95% working efficiency. It has smart variable wattage, which automatically recommends your ideal output, and you can easily adjust it as well. It has something called super mode, which activates between 130 and 157 watts between 0.1 and 0.3 ohms. So that's kind of something different you don't see every day. It has 5 custom settings. It has a PC app that you can download and change the TCR settings, as well as update the firmware. It does temperature control, supports nickel, titanium, SS316, like I said, TCR. For the temperature control mode, it goes from 0.05 ohms to 1.5 ohms and works between 200 and 600 degrees Fahrenheit. So there we go there. It uses two 18650s, which I'll just open up the back door on that, show you the inside real quick. So there is the actual battery sled where you put the batteries. Really nice, strong magnetic lock there. Very satisfying. It has a two-line 0.91-inch OLED display. Very easy to use button setup here. Just a simple 3-button setup. And yeah, pretty sleek and classy looking. I really like this kind of form factor that they got going on here, and I've been really digging working with this thing. So real quick, let's just go ahead and pop some batteries in there. I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll show you the screen. So first and foremost, going to put one battery in just like that, and the second one like this. Oop, got to go this way, like that. And then you put your lid on like that, and there's a little tab right there at the bottom so that it makes it really easy to line that battery door up. So this is what you're going to be looking at when you just put the batteries in. As you can see, I don't have an atomizer on top of this thing. So you can see here it shows the wattage setting that I have it currently set at, and if we actually put a tank on here real quick, let's go ahead and do that. If we throw the tank on, you'll see new coil, old coil. If you want to put new coil, boop. And as you can see, it dropped it down to 80 watts. So that is the kind of a smart auto adjustment there. That is the recommended wattage that they want you to use. But with this device here, I tend to crank it up a little bit more. So with that, it also displays the resistance of your coils, as well as the working output voltage right down there at the bottom, and your battery life. And that battery life indicator is fairly accurate, but also it kind of shows you the working battery life. It does show how long you have left, and even if you have almost nothing left, or there's 1 bar or even no bars, this thing will still hit. It is actually pretty cool in that sense. So yeah, with that, I really like that. It's got the little micro USB there at the bottom. I'm not sure if it's for charging. It doesn't say anything in the specs as far as charging it with this USB cable here. However, I know for a fact that it will be for your TCR and PC connections, so you can update the firmware. Just taking a quick little look around here on the bottom, a few little vent holes, nothing much else. This side, nothing really there, just kind of see the actual detail. And you have these kind of angled corners there. On this side, however, it shows drag. Pretty big, bold font right there. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see. Hopefully you guys can see it a little bit there. But it says drag, and it's a totally different style than obviously the carbon fiber on the other side there. But that's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's something different. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the overall look and feel to this thing. So real quick, I'll just show you around the menus a little bit here. So first and foremost, you can hit the fire button and the down button at the same time. And that will flip your screen orientation if you want to use it this way. Actually, now I can see it. Or flip it back just like that. If you do the fire button and the up button, you will lock it. So that just locks your power setting. So now I cannot change that, as you can see there, but I can still fire the device as it fires up there. And once again, just hit those 2 buttons to unlock. There you go. If you want to get into the menu, you can hold the up and down button at the same time. Then you have your menu here. So wattage, W for wattage, I'm assuming. This one is memory settings 1 to 5. SN is serial number. So if you click the fire button, it'll show you the serial number of this device, which is kind of quirky. Usually a lot of other modders will kind of bury that deep down into the actual firmware settings. So that's kind of interesting that they did that. And the little save icon is for version. I'm not sure why they did that as well, but that is the version of your firmware. So there you go. You can check that if you wanted to. Anyways, let's just go back to wattage mode real quick. Tap the button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. and then you get the temperature control mode, stainless steel, Fahrenheit, all that good stuff. You can adjust the temperature up and down like that. And honestly, I really didn't mess around with temp control too much. Have very little interest in temp control, so really not going to be a problem for me personally, but I could not find a way to change the actual wattage there on the bottom. I feel like that is, again, kind of the smart design, that they want you to use that wattage setting for the current setup, but I could be mistaken about that. In any case, we have nickel support, we have titanium support there. And if you keep going around, you'll circle back around the horn to wattage mode once again. So very, very simple stuff. On and off is just 5 clicks. So if you want to turn the device off, if you want to throw it in your bag or something like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's off. And it starts up and shuts down fairly quickly. You're looking at about maybe a 2-3 second wait time. And it does kind of have that always on sort of feel to it, because when you press the fire button, it will display off on the screen as you saw just then. So with that, that about does it for the close-up section of the VooPoo drag box. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of this video. Now let's talk about the pros and the cons. Starting off today with the pros, and my first pro is that this thing is built like a freaking tank. Yeah, I mean, absolutely rock solid design. I mean, it's 100% metal, which has a bit of weight behind it, which I actually like. In fact, I would kind of compare it. It's pretty close to the old Rig Pig here, so not quite as heavy, but then again, it definitely has a little bit more weight to it than a lot of other mods that I've been using recently. So a few people might be turned off by the weight factor in that case, but you know what? I feel like a little bit heavier mods and stuff like that are a little bit better constructed, and this thing is absolutely really, really well constructed. My second pro today is that this thing fires below 0.1 ohms even in variable wattage mode. You guys have no idea how long I've been waiting to get my hands on a box mod that can do that. I was actually surprised by that, because I went to throw the build in this Azeroth RTA here, and I was expecting it not to be able to fire below 0.1, and I usually would have to take it off, fire it on a mechanical mod to raise up the resistance a little bit post-fire, and then put it back on my box mod. Well, when I did that, I just fired right up. It just went, and I was like, okay, so we're off and running, and really impressed by that. So I'm kind of glad that this thing is capable of doing that. So there we go. That is definitely a huge pro for me, definitely a convenience factor. My third pro today is that this thing hits consistently all the way until the batteries are almost completely dead, which is really great because I like a long-lasting mod, and for dual battery mods to be coming out nowadays, I don't really expect much as far as battery life, especially running it above 100 watts. So with that, you can have absolutely no bars showing on your battery life indicator here, and it will still fire. And not only that, it will fire consistently. It will still give you a nice strong hit. It might not be hitting exactly 103 watts, which is what I have it set to right now, but it still gives you a nice, strong, powerful hit. And when I take my batteries out, they are pretty much at their lowest safe kind of level. They're about 3.3 volts a piece. So with that, I still think it is well within the safe realm, and I have no fear that I'm going to kill my batteries completely or anything like that. It does have that kind of safety cutoff where if it just cannot handle the load anymore, it will finally shut down and die, but otherwise it lasts a very long time. This thing went all day at a convention, so that is pretty impressive. My fourth pro today is that it has a simple and overall clean aesthetic to it, which I really can appreciate. I mean, this thing really reminds me of the IPv3. Definitely kind of throws me right back to my first really hard-hitting mod back in the day, which is the IPv3, and it kind of has that same angled corner angle there. And I really like the IPv3, so I'm very happy with the way this one looks. Few people might not like it. I mean, obviously the kind of sleeker, more stylish mods are in right now, but for me, it's definitely kind of a throwback to my first really nice, hard-hitting dual battery mod. And my fifth and final pro is the price. You know, I gotta mention the price just because for $56, this thing is a hell of a bargain. Really, you're gonna get your money's worth out of this device here. In fact, I feel like even if you threw it down a flight of stairs, downstairs. You'll be able to pick up the batteries, put them back in, and it's going to fire up no problem. So price versus quality. Quality is up here, price is down here. It's kind of a no-brainer at that point. Alright guys, so moving on to some cons. My first con is a bit subjective, but the mismatched side panels. This side is completely silver, this side has the carbon fiber, and you can feel the little cutout inlay to it. I don't know, I feel like they should have gone with one or the other. Don't mind the actual logo part of the drag box whatsoever. In fact, I think it kind of looks cool because it has a little bit of like a hash mark kind of design to it, but overall it looks really cool. And on the other side here, we have carbon fiber. Personally, I would have went with both carbon fiber because, I mean, it's carbon fiber. It really looks cool and really adds a lot to the overall look of the device. It definitely looks a little bit more higher quality on this side than it does on this side. But other than that, I mean, it doesn't take anything away from the performance whatsoever. I just feel like they should have just kind of chose a side here. Pick a side, any side. My second con today is that the menu system is a bit difficult to navigate. Now, I just find it a little bit more convoluted and confusing whenever you're using symbols instead of text. Really, why wouldn't you just go with text? I think it's a lot easier in that aspect. They do cover everything in the user manual that it comes with. However, I just really don't have the time or patience to have to deal with learning a whole different set of functions when you could easily have done it right there on the menu with some text. I just feel like that would have been a better option, and they definitely have the room to do that with, or at the very least maybe make the icons less confusing. I mean, a picture of a floppy disk like a save icon is actually the firmware version. I just don't get it personally, but maybe that's just me. Honestly, what do you guys think? Leave me a comment in the box below, but for me personally, I feel like this would be kind of a hassle in order to learn a brand new menu system when in actuality, all you want to do is vape. My third con today is that this thing can't fit really large atomizers on it. I mean, personally, I use a Kennedy 25 all the time, and I really wish that this thing would fit it nice and flush because I feel like it would look really classy on here. However, it is 24 millimeters in diameter here, and even with this 24 millimeter tank on top, it kind of has that little bit of bevel, and it does stick out ever so slightly, which can get to your OCD. I mean, personally, I like something that's going to be nice and clean and flush, and whenever it can't fit any larger atomizers on there, it just bugs the absolute hell out of me. So that is definitely a con for me personally. You know, the average size of atomizers is going up. You know, on a regular basis, people are using 24 and even 25, and especially with the TFE8, TFE12 series that are going up even larger than that, you know, you're going to expect to see some overhang on this device here. And for my fourth and final con about this device, it feels a bit boxy and outdated. Now, like I said, it definitely looks and feels like the IPv3 that came out a couple of years ago, and for a box mod to come out in 2017 with 2 batteries and 157 watts seems almost like, what's the point? Well, one thing I will give them, and this is kind of leaning more towards the pro side now, is that they don't lie about their wattage. They're not inflating those numbers and showing what it pulses up to or anything like that just to sell mods or compete with everyone else in the industry. It's a true 157 watts. That's all I'm ever going to need. Personally, I don't even mind the size and shape, but I feel like a lot of people are going to complain that this thing is stuck in 2015. So last but not least, is this device worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this one for review? And you know what? I'm going to say yes. Not only for the fact that it's only $56, but also because it's really solid. I love how solid this thing is. I feel like I'm going to be taking this thing on the road with me a whole heck of a lot in the future, just because I know that I can drop it, I can throw it around, toss it in my vape bag or anything like that, and it's going to be able to handle some abuse. Not only that, I really don't mind the overall aesthetic to it. It feels good in the hand. It's a little bit weighty, like I mentioned, and I just like it. You know, the price is right on this thing. For the money, you're definitely getting a good, solid mod. So if that's the kind of thing you're looking for in a mod, then don't forget to check out the links I've got down there in the description if you guys want to pick one of these up for yourself. So anyways, guys, that about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget you can also click that little notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts all about the VooPoo drag box. Don't forget to click on the advocacy and my social media links right down there in the description below. You can also pick up a Daily Vape TV shirt down there if you want to. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on!